Hello, everyone, and welcome to Team Ningen Gaming. I am Matt. Today we have with us Mr. Ukes. He is a gamer. He is a Twitch streamer, and he has a pretty cool stream he does regularly during the week. You can watch him live, I think, at 12 p.m. CT, correct? Or sometime around there is usually when you go live.
It's 7:30 p.m. CEST right now.
CEST.
It's always 7:30 p.m. It just right now we're on summertime, so it's CEST. Normally it's CET.
Okay, cool. So here at Team Ningen Gaming, we unite gamers and small developers to do big things. And if you want, Mr. Ukes has a channel that he is doing for content creators, specifically interviewing them. I just finished up an interview with him. You can go over to his channel and check out what he has on there. What we discussed on there, we talked about some gun control laws and that kind of thing. So if you're excited about hearing about that, well... I'll have a link to it below.
Video is going to be released on Tuesday, hopefully.
Cool. All right, Tuesday. Look forward to it. Yeah. Anyway, Mr. Ukes, tell us a little about yourself.
And so, like Matt already said, I'm a Twitch streamer. I'm a gamer. I have decided recently to go to YouTube as well to do podcasts and other things. I'm going to make how-to videos. I'm going to make a few reviews of my own videos from the past because I have a whole vault full of them. I'm going to do all sorts of things, and one of them obviously is making podcasts to highlight some content creators, because I think like if we grow together, it's much better. I want to help people out and stuff like that. Like growing alone to the top is not fun, and I think if I have the opportunity, why not?
Nice. Very cool. Very passionate about others, I see. Passionate about working together. That's what that's what this channel's all about, baby. That's what we're all about, working together.
That's why you have the team part, Team Ningen Gaming.
Yeah, Ningen means human. Team human.
Yeah.
It just happens. Yes, Japanese. Nihon desu. Nihongo.
Honestly, I thought Ningen meant mortal, but
mortal.
In most contexts, I see it's
Mortal Kombat. You will engage in
but
mortal
I'm not an expert. I don't speak Japanese, so.
少し話します. I speak a little, so I can throw a little out there. Do you speak? Is it Belgian?
No.
None?
It's not Belgian. It's
no, it's
Dutch.
not. I'm terrible. Dutch. That's it.
Yeah. I actually speak 6 languages and working on my 7th.
Nice. Very cool. I love languages. What languages do you speak?
Yeah. So I speak Dutch, French, obviously English, Russian, Hebrew, and German, and I'm now learning Filipino.
Very cool.
And because of my girlfriend. Yeah, I want to be able to speak in our native language, you know?
Yeah.
Actually 6 of my languages I learned before I was 6 years old, so that's also something.
Very cool.
Not to try to flex, but it always comes out like that. It always comes out like
except you're flexing your brain. Your brain is so big, and you wish you could kiss it.
It always comes out like that, but it's pure circumstance. Like most people don't realize, most like all the English-speaking countries are most of the time one language, unilingual. Most countries in Europe are 2 languages, and Belgium people speak often 3 languages. Jews in Belgium speak 4 languages. My family members in general speak on average 5. That's just how it happens. I
That's
I was
interesting.
born. My parents decided French and Russian. Then I went to school. I learned Hebrew and Dutch, and
Mm-hmm.
because I have family in Germany and I went there a lot, I picked up German literally from TV. And
Mm-hmm.
I did the same with English because when I was a kid, they only did subtitles. Like they still do subtitles right now, but there are a lot of things that they now translate to Dutch,
Mm-hmm.
which when I was a kid wasn't the case. All the series were in English,
Right.
so I picked it up
Mm.
as well.
Right. So
So
you
two of my
you
languages I picked up from TV.
nice. So you sprachen Sie Deutsch? Yeah.
Ja, ich
Yeah.
spreche ein bisschen Deutsch und verstehe es besser, denn ich spreche.
Ah. See, I don't know enough. I started like there's so many languages I tried to pick up, and I'm every time I get into languages, I'm always particularly like, oh, this is very interesting and it's fun, and then like it gets like a little complicated, and I'm like, is it worth it?
Yeah.
I'll work on something else.
As a kid
Japanese
that
I've
grew
stuck with because it's very difficult and it's a challenge, and I enjoyed it enough. And I'm 25% Japanese, and it's part of my culture, and I enjoy watching some of and I love watching anime and stuff like that. So I, of course, will want to just at least learn it, and then I'll move on to Spanish since it's so common here in the States. So utility first.
yeah.
But yeah, you got
For
excited. You
me,
got
it's more
excited
like
there.
because of the amount of languages as I grew up, I started to like it more and more. And actually, I have a small goal for myself. I want to be able to speak 10 languages by the time I'm 50.
Cool. Have you learned any Esperanto?
I try to, but
Yeah.
I didn't get captivated enough by it.
Yeah.
Like I dabbled a bit in Japanese, a bit in Spanish, a bit in Esperanto, a bit in Italian, a bit in
Hmm.
Romanian, a bit in Polish, and Yiddish as well.
Mm.
I think that's it. Yeah.
I love Yiddish. Yiddish is such a funny language, and, like one of my favorite. Like I love it every time that somebody says in shows or movies, like especially if you have you watched Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah.
I love Mel Brooks. He's so
Well,
funny. And
Mel Brooks is Jewish and
yeah,
speaks it. So.
yeah. So I love the scene where all of the men in tights come on to the scene wearing their tights, of course, and they're like, "Halt! You are in the company of what is it, Robin Hood and his merry men," and then he says, "So you're Fagala." I'm like, I just crack up every time. I love it. I think that's hysterical. It's such a funny word for like being a fag, basically. you know.
Yeah.
And my other favorite word so far is for schnicket. Getting. He says it too. He's like, "Hey, there are birds here. There are trees. There's squirrels. Heck, we'll bless them all. Let's get for schnicket." Yeah, I love that. Just drinking the sacramental wine. It's good. It's good. It's a funny language.
Yiddish is a fun language. It's a very easy language because it's made up, actually.
Uh huh.
So you write it phonetically with Hebrew letters.
Mm-hmm.
You literally write everything exactly how you hear it,
Okay.
which makes it very easy to read.
Yeah.
Although some letters get read differently than in Hebrew, because in Hebrew there are no is it consonant or vowel when you say A, I, O, U?
Those are vowels. Yeah.
Vowels. Yeah. So in Hebrew there are no real vowels. Like there are when you speak,
Yeah.
but written there are more placeholders, if
Mm.
that makes sense. Like you
Yeah.
have the aleph, which can be literally any vowel. Most commonly, it's an A, but
Mm-hmm.
it can be
Right.
any vowel. You have the ayn, which is also an A, but with a hard
Yeah.
emphasis on the A.
Yeah.
So it's more like
So-
an A.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot with the Japanese as well. Their alphabet is very interesting. Their hiragana specifically.
Mm.
Uh, e I o u keki kakoku. It's all in there. All the vowels are in there. Already.
Mm.
Um, so that's interesting. They also have several different ways of writing it. Like romaji is the way that English speakers, use the English language to read Japanese, as opposed to so it's written out phonetically. While then there's the hiragana, there's katakana, which is used
And
specifically
there's
for
also
for
kanji and
yeah, and they also have kanji, which is the pictorial language,
yeah, the one that
or
is
written language.
closely resembled to Chinese.
Yeah, and in fact, they share a lot of similar things, which a lot of the symbols mean the same things, but they're pronounced differently. For Mandarin versus Japanese versus all that. And
Yeah.
the interesting thing is that they not only is there romaji, which is the English written with the English language, but
Yeah.
also they have katakana, which is used specifically in Japan for pronouncing foreign words specifically. So if they are saying a word that is foreign, they will use specifically katakana. So so that it's a foreign word while you are reading it. So you
Mm.
know that it doesn't mean whatever the heck it may or may not mean in
In
Japanese.
Japanese.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a very interesting
It,
language.
it's a
Um,
very interesting way. Like, if you start looking into other languages, you start finding a lot of weird things that you find very commonplace but aren't in your language. For example, one fun thing about Russian, for example, I am, as in literally the verb, like when you conjugate it, I am, is
mhm.
not translatable to Russian.
Hmm.
I will be and I was is. I am does not exist. It's just
Hmm.
I.
Yeah. Interesting.
So
So
if you say in Russian, I am Mr. Hughes, in Russian I would say, "Я Mr. Hughes," which
I,
literally
Mr. Ukes.
translates to I, Mr. Hughes. There is no am in between. It
Yeah.
doesn't exist.
It's not needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
You
a
you
very
have
weird thing to
past
think
tense and you
because
have future
future,
tense,
but
but you don't have the in between. Yeah, because it's not
yeah,
needed.
but
It's inefficient.
that is specifically for being for some reason.
Yeah.
There are some words that don't have a present tense, and the majority of the words have a present tense.
Hmm.
It's just a very weird concept to think about.
Yeah.
Like someone actually had to point it out to me because I wasn't aware of it because well, that was literally one of the two first languages I spoke.
Yeah.
So I never stood by it to think about it. The same thing with Hebrew. I never stood by it to think about how complicated it is to learn to read it. Because when you read Hebrew, it's a lot more difficult than learning to speak it. Why? Because when you speak it, it's a very easy language, except for the fact that there are some letters that are difficult to pronounce. My favorite is always explaining the sound,
Yeah.
which
Gotta
yeah,
get
which
that
is
phlegm out.
basically in American the only way to explain it is the sound you make when you're choking on a popcorn. Uh,
No, I don't even want to think about it. It's making the back of my throat itch.
yeah,
Ah.
I know, but it's the best way to explain that. Like a lot of people say that or the sound for phlegm.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny.
So that's the only way to explain it, and it doesn't exist in English. Like also the sh sound doesn't have a letter in English as well, and so it's easy to learn to speak, except for the hard to pronounce letters. But the vocabulary is very low amount, so it's easy to learn and
Yeah.
very simple, and the grammar is very simple. The problem is the reading part because when you're reading, like I said, vowels are not specific to a letter. There are three vowels, four vowel centric letters. Aleph, which is most commonly A, but can be any vowel. Ein, which is again most commonly A, but it's more with a forcing, like a ah, or something like that. There is the yud, which is specifically used for I or J. and there is the vav, which is specifically used for v, u, or o.
Huh. Interesting.
So when you're reading words, you have to read from context to understand what you're reading,
Right.
which is very difficult to explain to someone once you think about it, because like you're supposed to know the context before you read the text.
Yeah. Language is
I
so
can't even
strange.
explain
So
how I'm doing it. I've just learned it as a kid.
yeah, absolutely. You learned it when you were a kid. And so tell us a little more about your childhood. Like you grew up in
In
Belgium.
Belgium, born and raised, yes.
Born and raised in Belgium. We had great waffles there. Oh.
Yeah, actually do have great waffles and the best fries in the world. Fun fact, this is something I learned over time. You know why they call it French fries?
Why?
Because, and I'm not kidding, this is not an Americans are stupid joke. It's a real fact. Americans during World War One came to Belgium, and then when they were very close to the French border, they thought they were in France when they were eating fries.
Right, right.
Not to blame
I believe
them.
that.
Again,
Right,
those
yeah.
borders are very complicated and very difficult to know. So
right.
it's a human mistake.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But that's the reason.
Right,
Because,
absolutely. I agree.
Because how would you know if you're in France or in Belgium if you're in the part of Belgium that speaks French?
Yeah, exactly. They speak French. The behaviors are very similar to the French. Like if you go to any border area, typically people from the other regions kind of intermingle. Yeah. You know, it's very similar. If you go,
and
like,
it
if you
help that they speak the same language. For America and Mexico, it's Spanish and English, so it's very clear who is who. But here in Belgium, it's all Europeans, all Caucasians, all speaking French.
Yeah. Yeah,
with
that's crazy.
With a slightly different accent that Americans wouldn't know because they don't speak the language.
Yeah, exactly. And that, like, if you go to China, the northern half of China is completely different from the southern half. Like, if you go far enough north in China, you would think that you're in Russia. Based on the buildings, based on, like, they speak Russian. That's the thing. They, like, at one point, like, Russians, like, they had to determine borders, and, like, people from Russia ended up in China. That's just how it ended up. So, so they just ended up in China. But they all speak Russian. They're all Russian.
Belgium is a composite country that was caused by a lot of disputes. It belonged to the Netherlands, part of it belonged to France, part of it to Swiss, part of it to Germany, and it decided to become independent. But it's been such an intermingling thing that we ended up with 3 languages plus English.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, English is kind of the predominant language at this point. That's interesting. Like, I've had people from the Meridian that speak English on the channel. What? Yeah, I've had people from the Meridian Islands. I think that's where it was, Meridian.
I'm very bad with geography.
So it's an island off of the coast of Africa, the east coast of Africa. Anyway, they have a very thick Creole accent though. Very thick Creole accent. It's very interesting.
That at all.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So did you want to talk about anything else about your childhood specifically? Anything interesting?
Like in my childhood, I went through a lot of things. Most commonly, the thing is that like it wasn't easy because I was like I have dyspraxia and a lot of other conditions, and I didn't know that during my childhood. So first of all, I was about to say I didn't know that during my childhood. Yeah. I literally discovered it after high school, even at the end of my college situation. And the thing is that, for example, dyspraxia, which I am suffering severely from, is a learning disability, mostly focused on gross and fine motor skills,
Mm-hmm.
which can range from a lot of things like not being able to easily tie your shoelaces,
Mm-hmm.
to not being able to hold a cup correctly, or even missing things entirely, because the only way to explain it better is like the input and output that happens in your brain can get lag in principle, and
Mm-hmm.
that is and it goes haywire for people with dyspraxia. It's a neurological learning disability,
Right.
uh, and it focuses on the control of all those things. So I could see something, I could see my cup in front of me, and I would want to grab it, and I would suddenly grab the top part instead of that,
Right.
like that. And I could suddenly also lose grip, just because I have the feeling that, like, my brain thinks it's still holding it, and my hand is like slightly deviating, because
Mm-hmm.
for neurotypical people, to not use the phrase normal,
Right.
for neurotypical people, the thing is that your brain constantly makes corrections, like your balance, for example. If you go sideways, it corrects it and stuff like that automatically. You don't have to think about it. For
Right.
someone with dyspraxia, it can, like I said, lag out, and then while your brain is thinking, "Oh, I'm standing straight," you might be right that,
Right.
and that can get distorted and stuff like that, and it hinders a lot of things. It makes you slur words. I used to even stutter as a kid, and sometimes, maybe you've noticed it during my streams or when we talk to each other, it sometimes comes back.
Yeah.
Not heavily, like I recover quickly because I went to a logopedist. Do you say logopedist in English, or what do you say?
Therapy? Is that what you were saying you
Speech
did?
therapist,
Speech
like a
therapist?
speech therapist.
Cool. Yeah.
As a kid,
So
to
word
fix
therapy,
that.
logo. Yeah, interesting.
What?
Word therapy. I'm guessing. Did you say logo?
Yeah,
Logo.
logopedist. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's what it's called in
Logopedist.
Dutch. Again,
Interesting.
like everything here was
Interesting.
in Dutch. I live on the Dutch side of Belgium, so
Yeah.
a lot of the terms that are specifically in Dutch, and I don't know the translation because I don't
Mhm.
really need to explain it to other people
Right.
in other languages.
Yeah.
Um, like, you know the thing, when you learn a different language, it's not like you learn all the words. You learn the ones that you need, and well, English, like I said, for me, it's depending on how you count it, fifth or sixth language. So
Mm-hmm.
even though I might sound like I can speak it well, I, for me, it's a whole other language.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I've learned all these languages, and because of it, I don't think in a specific one. I just see what I think, and I translate it to the correct language. So, for example, I think banana, I see a banana in front of me, and I just say it in the correct language.
Mm-hmm.
That's how my thought process goes,
Right.
and stuff like that.
So dyspraxia sounds very much like a dyslexia for motor skills.
Yes,
Very much, a little
basically,
bit, kind of,
it
in a
comes
little bit,
also
if
from the
if that helps
same
people.
wording. This is not able, and
Yeah.
praxia means the motoric abilities and stuff like
Yeah.
that. If I remember correctly, I
Praxia.
might be
Yeah.
wrong.
Sounds
Uh,
sounds about right.
and yeah, and it's not only that. A lot of people focus on the motoric skills, but it does focus more on the input and output. So, like I said, ended up with me being able to like with me stuttering. Sometimes people with dyspraxia slur their words, which you definitely have heard me do. Sometimes people with dyspraxia have difficulty learning something,
Mm-hmm.
just anything, because the way you're doing it does not get processed in their brain. Like, I can read something, and then due to, in my paraphrasing, a lag spike, I could read a word and then say something completely different because my brain did not connect the word to what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
which is very annoying because I have lost points on exams just because I read a question that didn't exist
Hmm.
and
That's
answer
funny.
that instead of the question.
Yeah.
And try to explain to your teacher that, because like they see a clear correct answer for the wrong thing, and then they ask me and I'm saying like it's for that, and they are like,
I didn't have that question on the quiz. What are you talking about?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, where did that come from?
Yeah, and that's the problem.
How do
Try
you
to
make pigs in a
explain to
blanket?
someone.
What?
Yeah, try to explain it to someone when you don't know
Yeah.
what's wrong with you. You know, I always had to work extra hard for doing stuff like that,
Yeah.
and my parents didn't have the motivation to figure out what was exactly wrong with me, so that made it very difficult. Also, the same thing, I have OCD, um, which like also didn't get
Right.
diagnosed. Mostly because my mom has OCD and I got it definitely from her. My sister also got it from
Right.
her. Like it's
Right. Yeah.
the thing with OCD, a
What kind
lot
of
of
things?
people.
Right.
Huh?
What kind of things do you particularly obsess over?
Well, that's the thing. Most of the time, it's specific order of how certain things happen. For example, cutting my nails has to happen on a Saturday. If I
Ah.
if I don't do it on a Saturday, I
That's true.
have to wait until next Saturday.
Yeah. That is an
Um,
obsession. That is a compulsion.
yeah. I have managed to stretch it out so that I am able to fix it on Sunday.
Hmm.
But if I do on bad days, I can start feeling an itch growing inside me.
Yeah, anxiety out
Uh,
of it because it's
yeah,
not right. Yeah.
yeah, and that's the thing. And if I do it on a weekday, that's like, don't even get me started. Like, I recently uh, tried on a Monday to cut my nails, and I ended up with a bump on my head.
Hmm.
Not
Okay.
explaining how that happened, just that's what OCD does, and
We'll
that's
leave it to
what
our
you.
imagination.
Yeah, like it's irrational. I'm completely aware it's happening, and I'm completely fighting it. But it is a fight with yourself that when it's bad, you're losing.
Yeah. I also had and I think I still have it to a degree, but like I'm so I don't know, probably partially diet, probably partially like growing up and like learning how to do different things and I don't know, connecting different brain I don't know, parts. I don't know how the brain fully works. I don't even think half our doctors truly understand how it works, but those who actually specialize in it. Um, but I used to have to every single time whenever I would drink from a water fountain, whenever I would do pretty most like things that were logical, right? I had to do them in sets of four. Like I'd have to drink in sets of four. Like drink, gulp,
Yeah,
gulp,
uh,
gulp,
and
gulp,
I know that
gulp,
one. Like
gulp, gulp,
for
gulp.
me,
Some people have to
um
turn locks 3 times before they feel like it's done correctly.
yeah,
So
like
on, off,
it
on.
ranges from a lot of things. For example,
Yeah.
I have literally driven from work to home to check if my door was closed.
Yeah.
I have done the same thing for my oven. I have, when I take out paper towels for washing my, for drying my hands, I need to have three of them. If I accidentally pull out a fourth, I need to have five of them.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Uh,
Interesting.
and the worst part is a lot of people think, but those are just stupid arbitrary rules. Why do you do them? I
because I obsess over it and I compulsively have to act on it.
yeah,
Otherwise, it's
that's the thing.
stressful.
Like
Stop it.
I don't choose the rules. It's
Yeah,
literally like a sort of itch that starts coming and spreading.
yeah.
Imagine you have something you have to scratch and it just does not
That's
go away.
Yeah, that's kind of similar to how because like I have Tourette's, right? I have motor tics specifically. It's
Mm.
in a similar fashion. And I'm sure typically with OCD, the more anxious you are, the more you actually focus
Yeah.
on those things. Yeah, exactly. It's similar. You have a natural reaction to
Mm.
feel better because of the fact that all right, I'm focusing on this and I'm calming down. All right, and like doing the action of completing the tick, like making the sound, doing the, throat clear, or like for some people making the weird like wow noises, wow, some stupid things. Those actions, they calm them down, and they have to do them though because they're
Yeah.
anxious, and it just happens.
And
It's just a rule.
it's
Yeah.
literally trial and error. You learn these rules because you try anything there is to alleviate it, and once
Yeah.
you find something that gets rid of it, that's what you keep on doing because you know that works.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of people with autism also. Like, if you've ever seen a person with autism do this, they do that. There's a few of them that because it feels good and it like helps them calm down. There's
I actually
It's an
am on
interesting
the
thing.
autistic spectrum.
Yeah, we're all autists here. We're all autists down here.
I clearly on the less worst part of it
All
because
right.
I can take care of myself. I can carry
You,
a normal conversation,
right. You
function like most neurotypical people are,
right.
but it is there. It is clearly there that sometimes it doesn't
Yeah, you pick up
click
on social
entirely
cues
like a
relatively okay.
what?
Yeah, you pick up on social cues relatively okay,
Mm.
I'd say.
Yeah,
Um,
but that's also the thing. Like, I constantly stare at people just to be able to like figure out. Okay, you're now happy, you're now sad, you're now having a poker face that I cannot
mhm.
read.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
And
that's
some people have seen me get stressed out when they have a very difficult face to read. Not
mhm.
because I automatically assume it's just like I start getting stressed out because I cannot read the face, and I'm like, is he happy? Is he sad? Is
How
he
does he
thinking?
feel? What
Like,
does he
what is
think?
he doing?
Like, well, one thing that you can do, like, yeah, well, they could just be thinking and not really
Yeah,
have a
I
particular
know.
emotion about it. So that's
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, often what you can do, like what most people do to practice that, is they'll make the same facial reaction that somebody else has. That's
yeah.
typically a way
That's
to
what
learn,
I do.
figure out.
I
Because
generally
usually you'll feel like, okay, well they're making this face. Okay, well I'll do that too. Well, okay, maybe they're thinking. Like or maybe they're just concentrating. What are they concentrating on? Well, I don't know. Doesn't matter.
I do. I honestly, in those cases, I seem calm.
Yeah.
I'm flipping out in my head when someone is doing that.
You know.
Like again,
Well,
it's OCD. Over time, I learned how like OCD and autistic spectrum disorder often go hand in hand.
yeah.
Like, not always, obviously. Everyone is different. Everyone has their own things and stuff, but those come often together. Like autistic, like you tend to be drawn to repetitive behaviors that alleviates those things when you're on the
Yeah,
autism
that
spectrum.
anxiety that you feel. Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally understand it. Whether or not everybody else does, I don't know. But it's
Mm.
up to you.
Mm.
Whether you understand, nah, who cares?
Yeah,
So
it's
you
like everyone has their own experience. Like,
right,
obviously, others know more about it than some because, well, if you live it, it's easier to know what it's like.
right,
Like, like trying to explain to my parents, for example, that I buy shoes with Velcro not because I care or not about looking like an old guy. It's simply
Because
because
it's
if
easier,
it
because
takes
it's
me
difficult to tie my
if it
shoes.
takes me 5 to 10 minutes on average per day, I'm losing an hour per week
Yeah.
on the shoelaces.
Yeah, see, I have shoehorns. I don't really care. I never tie my shoes. I tie them once and I'm done. Like, eventually,
Yeah,
like, they'll get so loose that I need to tie them again. And then, like, that's the one time I do it for the month or for, like, a
but
couple of
that's the
months.
thing. I have no control. I have no fine motor skills that
Yeah.
work well enough to tie it permanently.
Yeah. Interesting. So that's a lot of. We have a pretty good insight to what some of the things were like for you growing up. There were
Yeah.
probably, I'm sure that things were a little more difficult when it came to fine motor skills. Uh, you already mentioned the tests and all of that.
Yeah,
did you get picked on
school
for it?
was not a fun place to be for me,
Did
and
how was the bullying? Did you beat them up since you're taller than the average person, or did that come later?
no, actually, fun fact, I grew way too fast. I stopped growing when I was
Nice,
13.
interesting.
Yeah, I was already like, I have a picture of myself that I'm not going to share because it's from my school and the name of the school is clearly shown on it.
Right? Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a picture of myself from when I was 5 years old in kindergarten, where
Mhm.
I'm hunchback because our tiny as hell teacher didn't want to look smaller than one of her students. She
Too good.
was 1 meter 50, and I was just slightly above her. So you
Yeah.
literally see me like this next to a goalpost because I cannot stand straight
See,
next to her.
see if you have to do that because somebody's forcing you to, you just like bend your knees. You do a squat instead because then you at least still look like a man.
I was 5 years old.
Yeah, whatever. So, but you would have
Obviously,
you figured
now
it
I
out.
know that I need to do that, but
Yeah.
because it's also bad for your back and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah. Stand up straight. That's one of Jordan Peterson's first. What's his first rule in his book, 12 Rules for Life. Good one.
Mm.
So for all of us people in the U.S., how tall are you in feet and
I'm
inches?
1 meter 90. I converted it. That's about 6 feet two.
6 feet 2.
Yeah.
Nice. It's pretty tall. Very
Yeah.
nice. Let's see. You're
And
four,
thankfully,
five,
we
six,
don't know
six
what
inches taller than me.
happened or why, but according to the stats that they had on me from the doctors and stuff like that, they said I should have gone to 2 meters 30.
Hmm.
Uh,
Interesting.
Give me a sec. I'm going to uh, do that. 2 meters 30 is way taller. It's like 7 feet or something, I think. Give me a sec. Centimeter to feet, and 10 to 30. 7.5 feet.
You're 7.5 feet
So
tall? That doesn't sound
I
right.
should have
Oh,
I
should
should
have
have
been.
become.
Interesting. Oh, that's
That
all
was the
right because
prediction.
absurdly
Thankfully,
tall
it
people
stopped.
live much shorter lives, so don't worry about it. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm very happy about that, but due to my fast growth, I have permanent back issues because of it, because my body couldn't keep up with the speed I was growing at.
Hmm.
Like, the little measuring thing that a lot of people have at their home for measuring their kids as they grow up, like
Yeah,
putting
yeah.
lines on it and stuff like that. Literally, how it was at my home. 5, 6, 7. There is no 8 years old
Yeah.
on it.
It's
My
freaking
sister
crazy.
goes like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and at 14 she surpassed it.
Yeah. That's funny. Too funny.
So yeah.
My goodness. What it would be like to have your 7-year-old be that tall. Jeez.
Yeah,
Um,
it was horrible for my parents because just imagine having a kid, buying new shoes, and literally in a month's time you have to buy new shoes because the old ones were already too tiny for them.
right. That's funny. My
Yeah.
goodness. We all have different lives, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you actually want to talk about your parents at all?
No, I rather
All right.
not.
Sure, that's all right.
Um,
Let's move right along then.
yeah, like for school, I had a lot of bullying. Thankfully, I went to a rich kid school, so
ah,
because
bougie
um,
school.
n- not more, not bougie. It's just a compendium of a lot of things. Like if you go to a Jewish school, um, then chances are, especially in Belgium, that you're going to end up in a school full of children from people in the diamond sector and the doctors and lawyers and stuff like that.
Right.
So, um, something my therapist told me that is very common in schools with very rich kids is
Mm-hmm.
that often they resort to psychological torment instead of
Huh.
physical,
Right.
uh, which happened quite often at my school. Like physical bullying rarely happened. It did, but not to the extent I've seen in American movies or I've heard some people go through,
Mm-hmm.
thankfully. But the psychological damage that they did was horrifying. We've had multiple teachers run away from our school. We've had a teacher that literally went to in an insane house, insane asylum, like gone insane from being at our school from the psychological damage that they did.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
if you ever if you ever get a chance, check out Dave Landau. He's a comedian. He does stand up, and one of his older shows.
mm,
Um, we'll leave it there. Look up Dave Landau. Funny guy.
Dave Landau.
He was in his school. He was the penis master.
Oh my god.
We'll leave it there. Leave it to your imagination. What must have happened? But
Yeah.
you made me think of his skit, that his his gig that he did. It was funny.
No,
So
but
so tell.
like it was horrifying how far they went to mentally break you.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they kept on looking for it, and you might say a lot of times like words don't hurt, and like sticks and stone they break my bones, but words don't ever do anything, or blah blah blah. But there is a certain level after
No, yeah.
which that you get broken,
Yeah,
and
words hurt. Words can definitely cause you
yeah,
to lower serotonin
and
levels.
the
It
type
definitely
of torment
increases
that I went
cortisol
through,
response. There's a lot
yeah.
of stuff it does. But so
Mm.
let's get on to
Yeah.
an interesting topic then. So who's been the most inspirational figure in your life up to this point? Because
Inspirational figure in my life is
you've
actually,
gone through a lot, clearly.
yeah, I've gone through a lot, and that has also gotten me into atheism because I did believe in God at some point, and actually I have quite a good grasp of what is written in the Jewish Bible. Um, I say quite a good. I don't know it by heart, but I know the thing. I've actually read it and stuff. But to me, because of the atheism and stuff like atheism, sorry, um, I identified more with very scientific people like Einstein, Stephen Hawking, uh, at a certain point Superman, but that didn't last long because I was a kid.
So inspirational. That guy that just can do anything because he's an alien.
No,
Ah,
it's
I
not
can
that.
relate
It's
to
more
that.
like I strive to do the same
So,
thing, help people out even in the smallest way.
mm,
And yeah, the guy can literally do anything,
mm,
but like even someone who isn't all powerful and basically a god on earth, like even we can do things with small acts of random kindness, as you
mm,
know. Like that's something that I learned from school and my community and stuff like that. Like that's something you learn over time, and um, especially Stephen Hawking was very inspirational to me because like he was basically confined to his wheelchair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that spoke to me because, like, yeah, I'm not physically disabled, like, it's not visible, but I often do feel trapped in my body because I want to do something and then my body just said, nope,
Right.
not today.
Yeah.
And like it really made me connect with someone who was also trapped in his body way further extent than I am, and I'm very lucky
Yeah.
about that. I'm not going to compare myself to someone who barely is capable to move his eyes,
Yeah.
but uh and I do consider myself lucky, but having to I can do things, but just not quite there
Yeah.
is a whole other type of torture that I go through on a day by day basis, which is very
So
difficult to
so
explain to
so it
people.
was so it's inspirational to you that
Yeah,
he had done so much with his life, even with the
there you
fact
go.
that he was in a chair the whole time, like for a
Yeah,
lot of the time. There at the end,
since his twenties.
he wrote the universe in a nutshell, which by the way is confusing as all get out, but it's less confusing than his other book. I can't remember the other one.
A brief
Base
history of time.
Brief history of time, yeah. Which
I
genius
have his
man,
books
absolutely
literally here.
fantastic.
I was reading off the title.
Yeah, yeah, nice,
And I
nice. That's
have
cool.
also Grand Design
A grand design.
and A Universe from Nothing.
Hmm. Interesting. But yeah, the
Oh no! A universe from nothing is from Michio Kaku. Sorry, it's just written in small and I can't read it from that far with my glasses.
right. I mean, as you know, I like a challenge. I take on a challenge. So like, I was given an opportunity to read whatever the heck I wanted for a book report once. I was like, yeah, let's do the universe in a nutshell. Seems pretty cool. So
That must have
I
been
just
some years.
absolutely masochist is what I was.
I have done the same thing once with Harry Potter. You might think, oh, Harry Potter is not difficult to read. Well, at the time, I was going through a moment where my French went down in level because I didn't use it
Mhm.
for a long time. And I
Right.
thought, you know what? I want to get back into French and I love a challenge. Let's get Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix in French. I have it lying here.
It's a big old book.
I can
Yeah.
literally pick it up if you want, but like
Yeah,
it's a Harry
I
Potter
know.
book. Everyone knows how thick it is.
Everyone knows
Um,
how thick it is, man. You don't have to tell them.
uh, and uh, and in French, for some reason, they felt compelled to use how do you conjugations that are not common language, because French has approximately 50 different ways of conjugating
Hmm.
verbs, like 50 different ways. Like there, actually there are 25, but the thing is that there is a way to conjugate active verbs, and there is a way to conjugate passive verbs, like active and passive in your sentence. You know
Right.
what I mean? In French, those are two separate things. So you need to conjugate it in a different way. So any
Right.
conjugation has two different ways depending on active or passive. Um, and yeah, there are 50 in total, and at school you learn like 20.
Hmm.
So obviously, as I was speaking French for years on end and never learned it from home and just at school, when I suddenly decided to read a a French book of this size,
Hmm.
you can clearly realize what kind of difficulty it would be.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're rusty and like if you
Yeah.
had all of those different things set against you. Yeah, that was a challenge. I'm sure. Was it? But you got through it. Did you make it?
The French Harry Potter I did give up, but I did another challenge which was even more stupid, and I did go through that one. I read um, the Green Ray, I think that's how you pronounce it, from Jules Verne. It's one of
The
his
Green
lesser
Beret. Yeah.
known. Uh, You know that book?
No, but I know what a Green Beret is.
No, Green Ray.
Green Ray. Okay.
Yes. It's focused on the myth that when the sun goes down, there is a brief moment that a green light shines.
Ah, interesting.
And it's a mythical thing. They used to believe that it grants wishes or whatever.
Right.
I read the book in original French, as
Hmm.
in 100 years ago, with
Yeah.
conjugations that don't get used anymore.
Yeah.
I stuck through it. Took me 3 years.
But you did it. Way to go, dude.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Joke's on you. It's actually a story about a soldier. Get up, soldier! Man, that just doesn't sound right. This doesn't seem like it's about light at all. That's weird.
And it was a small book. It's a very small book. It's like 100 pages or something.
Right, right. Nice.
But yeah, trying to read in old French with conjugations that you've never heard of at the time when you're rusty.
So
It's like a 6-year-old deciding to read a university level book. It's like, it's not really advised.
right. So talking about challenges, what kind it's going to be very challenging trying to switch this topic over to video games. What's the first video
Yes.
game that you ever fell in love with?
So repeat the question, sorry.
What's the first video game you've ever felt a strong emotional connection with?
Actually, I have 5 of them.
5 of them.
I don't really put one over the other, but the original Sims.
like children, you love them all equally, which isn't true,
Yeah.
by the way. No parent loves all of their children equally. They always have favorites. Anyway.
Hashtag bad parenting.
Who knows?
If you're bad enough to make clear who's your favorite, then it's bad parenting.
To make it clear. Well, I think it's different with video games. Feel free to tell us what's your actual favorite. No.
Yeah. I can't decide, but anyways, the Sims, the original one, Mario Kart, Tetris, Crash Bandicoot, and Super Mario Bros.
Which is the first one?
What?
Which is the first one of that list that you played?
The first game that I played.
No, the first one out of that list that you played.
Tetris.
That list specifically that you just gave.
Tetris
those games.
Yes. Yeah. It's
Which
not my
which
first
one
game
was?
I played.
No. I'm saying which one out of that list was first that you played. The first game that you played in that list.
Tetris. In the
Tetris
list
out of that game? What about Tetris was so appealing?
It just, like, next to all my bad sides that I just told you about, I got lucky with one thing that I was born with, and that is I have only 2 talents. One is to make everything sound as dirty as I want it to be, even though it sounds, it should be sounding normal. Like, I can make even grandma's chicken salad sound as dirty as you want it to. Like, as if I'm using a euphemism for a sex act.
Man, you want to do grandma's chicken salad tonight?
I can do
That's
that.
exciting. Ooh.
I can do that.
That
with
sounds like the
anything.
best act ever.
Which is a very useful skill to annoy people. But the other skill that I got, and that is one that is extremely useful in general life, is I understand how things work. Right? I can look at something and just
Break it down to its like
break
components.
it down and understand how it works.
Yeah.
Which has helped me a lot with my disabilities. I always look at them, okay, which are the puzzle pieces? How do I get around that situation and stuff like that? It has helped me a lot and has made me look more stable on the outside than I am.
So would you say that game? So would you say that game actually forced you to adapt and use that skill better? Would you
Yeah,
say that it actually
it was
improved your
actually
ability
that
to?
game that showed me that I had that skill. I wasn't aware of it until I played that game, and it
Mm,
suddenly looked like it. And the funny part was, I didn't realize it when I was playing it again. It was when my mom came into the room, suddenly said like, "How are you doing this?" Because I was playing at the highest level possible and
yeah.
barely moving. I was just clicking left, right, down, left, right. Sometimes not
Hmm.
even looking at the screen
Hmm.
because I realized, okay, th- uh, this is going to go there. The old Tetris game had a very repetitive, bad made randomization. So after a
Yeah.
while, you could figure out that,
What was going to come
okay,
next?
after a line piece, you're always going to get a square or something like that
Yeah.
if it was precedented by an L shape or
Yeah. Proceed.
like,
Yeah. Preceded by
uh,
an L shape. So
yeah, I don't remember the exact things. It's been so
yeah,
long, I
something like
completely
that
forgot.
though.
Uh,
Yeah.
but after a while I was just like looking and I knew the following five ones and then just did that and then okay then yeah and then just kept on going on the
Mm-hmm.
fastest level and barely moving or sweating.
Mm-hmm.
And it's from my mom's reaction that I suddenly realized that wait, that's normal though.
Mm-hmm.
um and yeah, it's been like that with a lot of things. I have broken things apart to just to understand how they work,
Mm-hmm.
um, and dissected things and study things myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I am better at learning things on my own than I am learning things from teachers. Uh, and the interesting part of that talent is not only do I learn to understand things quickly, I learn how to explain them correctly to other people. Like
Yeah.
once I have gathered information, I can transmit it in a way that it's understandable to others.
Yeah. So you can actually break something down into its basic components and then
Yeah.
assess it from there. What's the next step and how it works and all of that. So that's interesting. That's a very valuable skill
Yeah.
to have, and
Uh,
that's
and
and I'm sure
that
that
makes a
helped
lot
you
of
throughout your whole
people
life.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of people confused because a lot of people think it's daunting when I say, like, I speak six languages, learning a seventh, want to learn 10. I play piano, I draw,
Mm-hmm.
I do video and music, sound editing, I
Mm-hmm.
program, I do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And basically, just because I suddenly got an interest and I was like, okay, how does this thing work?
Yeah.
And then
That's
I
really
just
cool.
acquired it.
Yeah. That's really cool,
And
dude.
the problem is obviously that I always hit a wall because, again, due to dyspraxia, there are things that I can never do as well as others. For example, I can play the piano and draw and stuff like that, but whether like I can draw well, but what would take me 10 hours would take a neurotypical artist less than an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So there comes like one is balancing the other out, basically. Like on the
Mm-hmm.
one hand, I can learn those things, but there is a limitation to what my body is capable to take over.
Right. That's interesting. So, do you think that you were able to learn those skills as well, like throughout those other games? Were you able to make use of those skills in those games? Did
Yeah,
you, and of course, you
indeed.
enjoyed each of them for those reasons as well. If you could
It's
take them
not
over,
only those
and
reasons,
it's a
but yeah, it
challenge.
mostly was because it helped me self-identify. It helped me understand things in a better way, put them in a
Yeah,
different light.
and understand
And
what things you're good at as well, and what you
yeah,
can do,
like
like
it's
how you
very weird
contribute to society,
how they help me with things. Like Tetris helped
how you
me
can.
realize how patterns work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Super Mario and Crash Bandicoot. Well, Super Mario specifically helped me think through puzzles and platforms and how to work out in 2D.
Hmm.
Crash Bandicoot helped me think in 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
I don't have depth perception, so that helped me a lot with figuring those things out to do that. And like Mario Kart, funnily enough, together with Sims, helped me work on my social skills.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, and I imagine you have depth perception. It's just not very good. Is that
No,
what you're
I
saying?
actually I don't.
Zero. You're saying you have zero depth perception. You're
Yeah,
only actually seeing out of one of your eyes.
yeah. At every single point in time, I see out of one of my eyes.
That's crazy.
Like
That's
I said,
crazy interesting.
I have double lazy eye, so it's
Yeah.
always one eye that is seeing. Like I think there is a percentage, but that the other eye sees. But for example, right now I am looking through my right eye, so here I don't see my hand anymore.
Hmm.
It's completely gone.
Right. That's cuckoo. For coconuts. Ah, sorry. Anyway, terrible, terrible old advertisements. That's pretty neat. I never realized that's what that actually meant because you mentioned that before.
Yeah.
That's
The
interesting.
fun part is
So
over time I actually learned to control it, so I can choose which I am looking through.
hmm.
Often I default to my right eye.
Yeah, that should be your. I'm guessing that's your dominant eye for the most part.
Yeah, I think it's my dominant eye. It's very difficult to figure out considering
Right,
they
because they're
switch on their
yeah
own
they
as well.
switch. Yeah, that's crazy. So your dominant
Um,
eye is whichever one you're looking through at the time, I guess.
yeah, and the funny part is like I am also ambidextrous and
Nice.
like 60-40. I'm mostly my right hand, but I can use my left hand for most things too.
Yeah. So tell me,
Mm.
who are some of the content creators you connect with, that you feel connected with, that you enjoy watching? Let's say that.
Some content creators that I
Feel free to say
enjoy
me.
watching. What?
Say I said. Feel free to say me.
Well, to be honest, like I have a lot of difficulty deciding who is my favorite,
Hmm.
which ends up with me having like a list of like 300 people that I follow.
Right.
Just because I did enjoy your early work. Uh, I
Hmm.
did see where you needed improvement, but I did also think that you had a lot of potential back
Hmm.
then.
Yeah.
And I still stand by it. Like I see you have improved quite a lot with podcasts.
Hmm.
Uh, and I honestly think when you do the revive the channels again in a
Hmm.
matter of way, that you probably will grow and do better over time.
Right.
Same
Absolutely.
thing with what?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say absolutely. I mean, if anything, as long as you have direction, you know where you're headed. You can
Yeah,
prioritize your goals. You can know what the heck needs to be done, and then you work on that individually as you go until it's as close to the realized vision as you can make it.
yeah,
That is
indeed.
the whole reason why you need to have a vision whenever you're going to do anything.
Yeah,
You can
and
visualize
that's
the
the reason
goal
why it flopped
and
for
try and
me
reach it
years ago.
as best you can. Yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah,
that's
like
the same with mine because I didn't have a proper vision for the channel.
there we go. Like before, I just uh, thought I'm going to stream. I'm going to make videos. If I make some friends along the way, great. This is for people to see what I
Hmm.
can do in games, and this is what I'll do.
Hmm.
And I burned out on it
Yeah.
because for YouTube specifically, the amount of work that goes into making a Minecraft video
Hmm.
is ridiculous. I had 10-hour footage that I worked with, and could literally take a few days to make it in the videos.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, like I just gave up on that whole thing. Like I am not sitting down doing a 1 hour clip like video and then like work 9 hours to make it into a reality. I'm sorry,
No,
but I that is not something I'm gonna do. I think it's boring. I think it's frustrating. And
well,
as funny as you can make it, as enjoyable as you can make it for yourself and others and have a good time, that's great, but as long as you understand the skill, you know how it works, and it's like, great, okay, move on. Like, what is the direction you're headed? Because, like, if you get so
yeah.
caught up in the weeds, it just goes nowhere.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah,
like I enjoy editing a lot, but when you're doing it as a hobby and have no direction whatsoever what you're going through, then I just spent 30 hours on making a 5-minute video.
yeah,
No one is watching.
yeah,
Great. Do that for half a year and you burn out.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
it's not like clearly I could improve. Like the videos I made back then are crappy compared to what I can do right now. But again, like uh, improvement comes along with the years of practicing and doing that stuff because I love editing. I love doing a lot of creative things. It just at the time I had no vision where to go to.
Mm-hmm,
So the only thing that could validate that I was doing a good job was the numbers, which
mm-hmm,
did not go up because for people just starting out on YouTube, you're, especially at the time, I did not fully grasp the idea, but you're literally competing with millions of other people
yeah.
to shine out.
Now tens of millions of people, by
Yeah.
the way.
Once you go over a million, you cannot even imagine it. It's a
Yeah,
sea of
yeah,
people. If you go to a town square and you see a million people, it's just a sea of hair. You
yeah.
don't see the people.
Right.
So that's the thing. And like uh, I burned out on it and went to streaming, and then that was the same thing. I did not have a vision or anything what to go through.
Gotta trim those
And
nose hairs.
what did you say?
I said I gotta trim those nose hairs. I'm like, oh gosh, that is just tickles. Stop it.
Fun fact: I actually trimmed them exactly before I started this.
Hot. Sorry.
Again, OCD.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Like the moment you made the shirt comment,
Right.
I went to the bathroom to shave and trim my nose hairs
Right. Right.
because
Notice I
being
didn't.
OCD.
Now I'm tickle. My nose is ticklish, my man. Ah, if only I had a little bit, just a tiny bit of that OCD. But no, I'm kidding. Obviously,
Yeah,
sorry, I threw that off the
would.
rails. I was just
Yeah,
like, man, because like I'm literally like, stop it. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, constantly.
But like to get back to
Fun.
the topic, the thing was like, oh, we went from streaming to nose hair clipping.
Yep. Good times.
Yeah.
Welcome to
Um,
my life.
happens to me a lot. Like you don't want to know the private conversations I've had.
Wonderful. I'm sure they're
Uh,
wonderful. Anyway.
yeah. And the thing is, like, I did not have any direction, and yeah, I did get the view here and there, but after a while, I just burned out on it, and then I went into like a break for 3 years.
Hmm.
Uh, and then, um, well, last year I fell in love with my girlfriend, and we made it official, even though we've never been able to meet each other in real life because COVID fucked everything.
Yeah.
Uh,
Goram. COVID.
yeah, uh, and um, and yeah, so I was thinking for a long time, even before I met her, uh, to start back with content creation, but every time it was the same thing. I did not know why I was doing it. So every time I came back to it, it was like but it's going to be the same as previously, and I don't want to burn out on it again. And then when I talked to it about it to my best friend and my girlfriend as well, suddenly like they got me realizing what I was doing it for. I want
Yeah.
to make people feel at home. I want them to
Right.
feel as if they're with me watching me play the game. Like in the old
Yeah.
times when you had to go to a friend's house and then they played a single player game and then you spent an hour watching them play and then you switched and you played and they watched you an hour and stuff like that, or
Yeah.
different management, or you fought over the controller.
Yeah. So you want to actually
And
host. You
I
want to
want to
host environment where people can come and feel
where
like they're
people
a part
feel
of
at
that.
home, where people feel
Yeah.
like this is
That's a
my
hospitality thing. It's
friend,
pretty cool.
this is someone I can talk to and feel comfortable with being myself while I enjoy what he's saying and what he's providing as content, which
Yeah.
on Twitch is gaming. On YouTube, my plans are to help out other creators to get a spotlight. Sometimes I will do bigger creators, sometimes I will do smaller. Why? Because I'm not an idiot. Like uh, it that came out wrong.
It's okay.
I meant like let me backtrack because I realize that when you're making stuff about small content creators, when you're also connecting with big content creators as well and also making a podcast with them, yes, they are big and probably don't need the advertisement from me. But when I can get a bigger person on the channel, I can get a bigger audience on the channel. And they can also see my content, which means they will be more likely, if they suddenly think about it, if they get the incepted idea to look at the smaller content creators, which is the majority of the podcast, which will be, then they might shout them out in their Twitch. Like it's all focused on helping others and making the connections, because one of the biggest things that a lot of people don't know when they start streaming content creation is networking is extremely important, both with the little people and the
Right.
large channel. It just makes sense, and
Yeah.
that's where I and that whole thing I summarized in one word: I'm not an idiot. So sorry about that. I did
No,
not
that's
mean
all right.
it like that.
No.
Um,
It's fine. Like
no.
some
I know.
people are
Like I
very
understand
basic.
what you're doing, and I
Yeah.
appreciate what you're doing as well.
Yeah. So
Because all types of channels work in different ways. Everyone does it in their own way.
so
Doing smaller channels is also good, because once you get bigger, once you get more known, you can do the same thing. I am going the different route, but it it is with the same purpose to highlight, in your case, gamers and indie game
right.
developers.
Right.
In my kind, it's specifically streamers and content creators in general.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
but the end result is what we are going for. It's to get them more exposure, to help them out, to say, here is a person doing cool stuff, or here is a person making a cool game. You
Yeah.
should also try it. You should
Yeah.
also see it. And I want to do other things. I want to help people out. So that's also why I'm going to do how to videos, like showing how to use OBS, how to use PokeLink, because that is what I use for Pokemon, how to use Discord and Zoom and all the other stuff for your content creation, like all the different things, comparing them, like not trying to focus on a thing, because whenever I look stuff up for how do you do this, I often see a lot of streamers go like, these are the 5 things you're doing wrong, or these are the 5 things you should definitely focus on. and they focus on that and they explain that. And often it's either with a demeaning tone, like, I'm doing it right, you're doing it wrong, so listen to me. Or it is in a way where they say they did those same mistakes, yet there is no evidence of it whatsoever in the past. And that's also what I'm going to do with my Vault videos. I have like 200 videos approximately on my drive from all the stuff that I recorded, some of which I've never shown, some of which I've shown and just removed from my channel. I want to actually have revisions of my old videos on a constant basis where I tell people, okay, this is what I made. Let's go through the mistakes. Show I am self-critical, show I want to grow and work out, and show by example, like, this is what I did wrong. Don't do the same mistake. Here is a clear example why it's wrong, how it's wrong. You can see it. And it's not meant as demeaning. It's like, I am a human being. You're a human being. I did mistakes. Learn from them.
Right. Yeah, I think, well, there's another point to that, and it's that typically if you're making a tutorial video, typically you're going to be doing something that's people want it to be concise, they want it to be to the point, and they want the most information in the most particular way possible, that they can just step by step, here it is, these are the processes, done.
I know, but
which doesn't lend itself well to
they are going to be separate. So the how-to videos and the reviews of my old videos will be two separate series on my channel. So one will be highlighting, this is how you do in a concise way, and one will be highlighting, this is what I did wrong.
Right. That's interesting. Cool. So we actually covered several questions with that, so that's excellent. Because we're at an hour and 20 minutes. Interesting. Granted, a few minutes of those were prior to the stream. So why do you keep making videos?
Well, like I said, like at the moment it's just streaming, but obviously the plan, like I said, is to make videos. And the thing is that why I make it is just the same as with streaming. I want people to feel at home. I want people to grow with me. If I grow, I want people to get the same kind of success, and I want to help out as much as possible, which with videos is also something I can reach out people in a better way than with streaming, because with streaming you're always coming in the middle of the conversation. Personally, it's not my favorite thing to do. I'm very stressed out when I'm streaming. I have a lot of things prepared, and I always have to remind myself to get myself calm enough to do it, that I'm streaming and my girlfriend is going to watch, because that calms me down. Because she watches every single stream afterward because of the time difference. So she watches it often in the morning or on a day off or something like that. Like not all of the video, but enough of it to get the general picture. And she supports me, and I appreciate that a lot. And that's what's helping me to do that. So,
I'm sure the OCD doesn't help with that. Thinking about all those things. Like for me, because I think I think that's a part of why I'm doing well enough to continue to improve, is because of the fact that I've learned to put aside the things that are less important, right? Like, I don't care if we mess up or we slip up every once in a while. Like, if I get lost, I don't care. I'll leave it in. Who cares? Like, what does it matter? It's not hurting anything. It's just showing that I'm human, which is what this is all about. This is what this channel is about. It's to make you human. It's to make people see that you are an individual outside of your channel, that you are a person, which is why I don't think I will ever like interview anybody like PewDiePie or Markiplier, because they already have something for that. They don't get any value out of that, and I don't get any value out of it because I'm not already showing who they are as a person that they aren't doing already on their own platforms. I don't need
Yeah,
to.
and that's
Um,
understandable.
but I mean, like if they did show up, I wouldn't mind it, right? Like I believe in it. The channel itself. The whole purpose is for to unite gamers in general and small developers, right? That so and
So I might come
because we're
back when
because
I
we're all
might come
people.
back.
What's that?
I might come back because I am working on a game.
Oh, cool. That would be pretty cool, man. Awesome. No details yet, huh?
I'm working on, well, I have two smaller ones that I'm working on and one big one that is on hold. The smaller ones is one is literally, um, it's going to be free because otherwise I will be sued, because it will be a modification of Pokemon. It's my own interpretation how to make Pokemon.
Huh.
I'm going to remove um, the four move limit,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to make it open world.
And is it still Pokemon though? That's the
Yeah,
thing.
it is
If
still
you change, okay, yeah, because if you
it
actually changed all the graphics, like, it's so funny that our laws are set up the way they do. That's why we have a million Flappy Birds right now. It's ridiculous. It's just because of the fact that it's
well,
different graphics, so
a,
different
a,
game.
a lot of people say different Flappy Bird. When
It's just
iPhone
an
came
example.
out, when the original iPhone came out, one of the popular games at my school was iCopter. Literally came out a
Yeah,
few weeks after.
I
That is
bet.
Flappy Bird.
Yeah, I believe it. I absolutely believe it.
That
It is
was
so
Flappy
funny
Bird
that
before Flappy Bird existed, and it
yeah,
was
but I mean, Flappy Bird just was the biggest popular one. You know, that here at
graphically,
least
it's
too.
also way better than iCopter. iCopter was a bit-sized helicopter with bit pixels being the cave
Yeah,
in only green and black. That's it. And I love
that's
the
funny.
color green. It's my favorite color. Funnily
You got
enough, my
some
green
green
screen
screen back there,
and I also have green eyes. Um,
which doesn't lend
but
itself well to chroma key.
no, whenever I stream, they turn into blue because of my background,
Yeah,
which is cool.
yeah.
Because half my family is green-eyed, half is blue-eyed. So,
Hmm.
and I can be both thanks to the magic of streaming.
That's it. That's it, my man. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's hysterical.
Mm.
So we've dealt with frustrating things, I think, enough. What do
Yeah.
you look forward to the most about the future, about your future?
Um, there are a lot of things I'm looking forward to. One is getting a vaccine so that I feel comfortable traveling outside of Belgium, meaning I
Yeah.
can finally go to my girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, to the possibility of the fact that Belgian ruling is stupid, and because of the way COVID went, basically I have a year plus long relationship with my girlfriend, and according to the government, as long as you didn't have two meetings physically, then you don't count as a couple, and she's not allowed to come here during the COVID period.
Hmm.
The borders to the Philippines is open, which means that the moment I have my vaccine, I go on a holiday
Yeah.
there. Will work during my 2 week of quarantine, which I have to do there, and then will work during my 1 week of quarantine here in Belgium. But at least I will be able to see her in real life. And once
Yeah.
I get there, I can get the proper stuff to get her here while the
Yeah.
COVID thing is still going.
That's pretty cool, dude.
So that is something I really look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I really look forward to what I'm going to do with my channel.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, all of the plans are getting in motion, um, which is very fun. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Uh, um, I'm also excited for the special stream I'm doing tomorrow, which is I'm doing a drawing stream as a redemption for my nostalgia week, in which I played old school games from my childhood, out of which I played all of the games I said, and Roller Coaster Tycoon 2.
Cool.
Yeah. And which a lot of these games had a lot of difficulties getting them to work on my PC for a lot of reasons.
Right.
So I have the redemption that I'm going to do an art stream tomorrow where I'm going to draw. I have a redemption where I'm going to play the piano on stream. I'm going to do a cooking stream. And the cooking and the piano stream are going to be me wearing a kilt because my kilt arrived. I've always wanted a kilt. Like, also a thing on gender politics. I don't care what you think, but about it. But personally,
kilt is manly. It's not a dress. It's not a dress for men.
No, the reason why a kilt specifically is because getting a skirt in a man's size is extremely difficult.
Right, yeah. I had fun talking to you, Mr. Ukes. It was a pleasure. Where can people contact you? Feel free.
Yeah. Everywhere it's either Mr. Ukes written out. So that's I'm going to use the army alphabet if you don't mind. Is okay. Mike India Sierra Tango Echo Romeo, and then Ukes is obviously uniform Kilo Sierra.
Yep.
Or it can also be written just Mike Romeo and then again Ukes. On YouTube, it's Mr. Ukes written out, like the full Mr. On Twitch, it's MRUKS. On Twitter, is MRUKS. On Twitter, is like I write Mr. Ukes. My handle is at Mr. Ukes written out. My player.me, it's the same. It's MRUKS. On Discord, it's MRUKS. Most of the places, it's either MRUKS or Mr. Ukes. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. I even have a Facebook with Mr. Ukes that no one is following right now.
All right.
It's recently, I made it player.me. I might open up even more stuff, like might do an Instagram or TikTok. Right now, I don't feel like it.
Cool.
I'm still working on the YouTube things.
Right.
One thing at a time. And for anyone wondering, I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday on 7:30 p.m. European time. So that's CET during the winter and CEST during the summer, which is now.
Nice. Sounds good. Cool, man. Everyone, thank you so much for watching today. We had done 2 interviews. It was this one that you're watching now, and there's another one that'll be showing up perhaps Tuesday? Question mark.
Hopefully.
And it'll be on Mr. Ukes' channel over here. He'll be it'll be spelt out, Mr. Ukes.
Yes.
You can actually go and see that over there on his channel. It'll be in the description. I'll have all the information that he just gave out in the description. You can go check it out there. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Soon I'll be making more content on Ningen Matt. You can check that out, spelled exactly as we have Team Ningen on here. And we should have another person coming on the show hopefully in a few weeks. And I have somebody planned for next month. Very exciting stuff. And we'll see you next time.